On our live transmission this afternoon, it's the Guinness Munster Hurling Championship final between Limerick and Tipperary.
He's put it high, he's put it over. The Limerick captain has scored a minute into injury time.
Yes, a fantastic atmosphere in the Gaelic grounds on the Ennis Road this afternoon as Tipperary and Limerick meet for the first time in the provincial decider in 23 years. Well, that year, 1973, was a famous one for Limerick hurling. In truth, there have been very few of the years since, although these past couple of years have seen a marked upswing in Limerick's hurling fortunes. Can this team deliver a second Munster title in the space of 3 years? Or can Tipperary regain those glory days of the late 80s and the early 90s, which brought them 5 Munster titles and 2 All-Irelands? It's a fascinating duel for supremacy in the south. Yes, good afternoon and welcome. The scene is set then for a match full of promise in Limerick this afternoon. Limerick play in their third Munster final in a row, in many ways the form team in the province in the past few years. Today, hoping for a turn of that form into a second Munster title and a chance to get back onto the All-Ireland stage again. Now, before we do anything else here on the programme, our usual reminder about our telephone numbers. If you're ringing from the Republic of Ireland, it's 1850 851 851, or if you're ringing from Northern Ireland, it's 0800 973 073, and those phone lines are open right now, in fact. Well, no Cork in the Munster hurling final these past few years, but we do have a Cork team involved in the big match today. That's our commentary team for the game, Ger Canning and Tomás Mulcahy. Let's get the latest word on the conditions at the ground from them.
Thank you, Michael. Yes, welcome to the Ennis Road here in Limerick. It's a dull overcast day by and large. There's a light breeze blowing in towards the city end here of the Gaelic grounds, but expectations for a terrific match as always when Tip and Limerick meet in a Munster Championship. Tomás Mulcahy, as you say, is with me. Tomás, your views on today's game?
Yes, I'm sure, Jared. The expectations are that there's going to be a very evenly contested game. We've seen in the past hurling games, they're 70-minute games, and I'm sure today is going to be no exception, because you look at the last game, it was down to the wire, down to the last minute into injury time, and I'm sure Tip probably will start slight underdogs today, and I think that will suit them.
Yeah, Limerick probably the favourites, most people's favourites, but it's all on the 70 minutes. It starts at 3:30.
Yes, dull and overcast the weather may be, but the hurling promises to be a brighter affair by far. We're looking forward to that game. With me here in the studio is Cyril Farrell. Well, Cyril, I suppose the big thing on this particular match is who's going to win it. It seems to be very hard to call.
Well, it promises to be a great one, and really, Michael, who's going to win it? It depends on the set of forwards. Now, looking on paper, the Tip set of forwards, potentially 1-to-1, they play as a unit more than Limerick do. Up to now, Limerick have depended a terrible lot on Gary Kirby, and it's up to the other forwards today to come good, and that's what Tom Ryan will be hoping that Limerick will happen for Limerick.
It is an interesting aside to all this, Cyril, that Limerick and Tip, as we said a while ago, haven't met for 23 years in this, and yet Limerick are now playing in their third Munster final in a row.
Well, most people would find that hard to believe in the sense, that because they haven't won the All-Ireland, and really, Limerick have 2 great victories over them this year against Cork and against Clare, but it counts for nothing today, Michael. It's a 50-50 game going out there. It's a Munster title, and as Thomas said there already, Tip are going in underdogs, and that probably suits them.
Well, as you can see, the 2 teams coming out. We've seen Tip come out already. There's a Limerick heading out onto the field. And I suppose, let's look at Limerick first of all. I mean, as I said, a third Munster final in a row. They're still hankering back to 1994 and that All-Ireland that slipped through their fingers. There's
only one way that they're going to forget 1994, and that's by winning a Munster title and they're going on to win the All-Ireland title. That's the only way that Ciaran, Carey and his men are going to forget 1994. And they can sing songs about it or forget, a few drinks, forget about it, but it won't go out of the stomachs until they erase that memories by winning it. So today is another stepping stone on the way.
You talked about Gary Kirby. We saw a flash of him there a moment ago. Up front, he's so important to them. Now, they've made changes in their forward division, so obviously not entirely happy with the way things are going. Yeah, well,
Mike Galligan is off now today. Usually he'd be good for a few scores, and I'd say he's very disappointed. Of course, he could be sprung from the bench, but they have Shane O'Neill, Owen O'Neill and Paudge Tobin on from last year. 3 different, new debutants as such. This is their first Munster senior final. It'll be interesting how they get on. But they'll need to play a more kind of a combination game up front, because you just can't be dependent on one player. And of course they have Damien Quigley back. TJ Ryan is going out wing forward, and Quigley is a good hurler. Even though he's on a great player, but George Friend, it's going to be a great duel between himself and George Friend.
Again, just we see Declan Nash going through a picture there as he takes his seat on the bench, and one of the 2 Nash brothers involved in the defence. We've talked so much about Limerick in the forward line. An awful lot's going to depend on their defence as well today, because that has gone well so far.
Both defences, Michael, both in Limerick and Tip, they'll be quite happy with their defences so far. It seems to be the strong point of their team. The defence are doing their work, but yet like forwards win game. If you're not scoring up front, you're not going to win the games as such. And like the last day, the Limerick defence stayed in the game, even though at the end of it being out of it, you'd imagine, going to be overrun by Clare, but they weren't in the end. And like even though the forwards got the credit for winning the game, then Ciaran went up and got a fantastic point. You could actually say it was the Limerick backs that held them in the game when they were completely been overrun out the field.
Sure. Well, for a moment, looking on the other side of it to Tipperary. And I suppose one of the talking points in this Tipperary team this year has been the rehabilitation, if you like, of John Leahy. Now, he's had his own personal problems earlier in the year, but playing fine hurling again. They say he's fitter and more committed than ever.
Yeah, Michael, John is a great hurler and he's back where he should be on centre stage. He's a fella that can ignite the whole crowd. When he gets a ball, it brings a buzz. Whether you're playing against him or with him, he ignites, and you need players of that. He ignites the place. Now, he's up against David Clarke, another great hurler, but on song, John Leahy is as good as anyone in the country.
He's the kind of person that has ignited emotions down through the years in every kind of sense. A lot of people don't like him, but he's a super hurler. When I say don't like him, haven't liked him on the field of play.
Well, he made it tempestuous at times, Michael, but at the same time, if you were picking a team, you'd have him on your team sheet. He's a player you'd like to have with you rather than against you, and he's a winner, which is all about. But like in shot there, you see the likes of Colm Bonnar. This year, like he has made centre-back his own. It has been a problem spot for Tipperary for years, and Colm has been on the team for a long time, and yes, he seems to have slotted back this year, and number 6, there doesn't seem to be any debate about it now in Tipperary at all. He's just on there.
Sure. Would you take it as a valid criticism? A lot of people are saying that, you know, some of the more experienced people on this Tipperary team are perhaps just a little bit too much so.
Too much gone over the top a little bit. You know, they're around for a long time. They're not old in age, Michael. They might be old in hurling, but like they're in a Munster final, and really Tip have only to play one good game, and it means they're into a quarter final, which they should win against Ulster. So like this is a really kind of there's a double incentive here for, especially for the older guys, because this could be their last shot at it. Sure.
All right, Cyril. Well, right now let's return to Limerick again, where Tony O'Donoghue is talking to the rival managers, Tom Ryan of Limerick and Father Tom Fogarty of Tipperary.
Tom, from the Limerick camp, no worries at this stage. Gary Kirby is all right?
Yes, Tony, everything's okay. Gary's fine, and all the other strategies we had all cleared up. Everyone looking forward to the game.
Looking to prove yourselves as well, though. I sense a sense of nervousness in the dressing room. Would that be right?
There is, yes. I sense a little bit of tension in there now, Tony. A bit of nervousness, but that's to be expected. You know, we have to prove ourselves today.
Perfect conditions for hurling, isn't it?
Conditions are ideal, Tony. Looking forward to a great game.
Everyone is expecting Limerick to do well. You've got the home crowd behind you. Can you live up to it?
Well, Tony, that's what we're here for. We will.
Father Tom Fogarty, what's the atmosphere like in the Tip dressing room at the moment?
Oh, great, Tony. We're looking forward to the game now. The lads have prepared well, so we're ready for it, I hope.
A nice low-key build-up for a change from Tipperary.
Absolutely, yes, indeed. We kind of slipped into the final, but we're very glad to be here nevertheless.
What about playing in the Lions' Den, as it were, in Limerick's home turf?
We don't mind. We've played several games here. We played the National League final here recently, so we don't mind. We're no strangers to Limerick.
You're playing as selected, but you've got a strong bench. You expect them, sure, to bring some of the old-timers on perhaps during the game?
Well, we hope not. If things are going very well, we won't have to, but it's inevitable that they will come on, and we're very glad to have some very good players in the dugout.
Yes, Father Tom Fogarty of Tipperary there, who led Tip to the league final earlier on in the year, certainly against Galway. What would you take out of that? I mean, they lost that one, and yet they were missing a lot of players on the day.
Yeah, Tipperary did quite well during the league, Michael. They blended a lot of new players with, we'll say, the more experienced players, and they came out into a league final. OK, they lost the final, but for 50 minutes they led Galway a good few points, and if their free taking was a bit more accurate that day, they probably have won. Now, in the last 10 minutes, Galway got on top. And Tip people would have left the Limerick's kind of say disappointed. Galway would have left very happy. But Tipperary probably learned a lot in that game, and they've settled a team more or less for the championship. Now, OK, the team is being kind of brought around again today. They have a new midfield partnership, but all them lads have been tried during the league. They're not new.
A big game for Michael Cleary today would be required. He's been played wing forward, played at midfield. Hasn't quite hit his best form this year.
Well, compared to his own high standards, he hasn't. But like, he's captain of the team, and like, if he is capable of being, you know, of having a great game. Very good free taker, very good first touch hurler, and very good on the ball. But again, Limerick will be trying to ruffle him out of it and make sure that he doesn't get kind of clean possession, which he likes.
One wonders sometimes about the captaincy, if it can weigh more heavily on some players than others. His club, Éire Óg Nina, won the championship there for the first time last year, and that's why he's the captain. I wonder if it's a little bit of a burden on Michael this year.
Well, it can be, like, and some players can take it like that they have to do the whole lot themselves. But Michael will be a very successful business person as well, like, and that can be, you know, a lot of the background thing kind of an effect on the player. But most of the modern day captains now, like, the coaches will be telling them what way to play, and you know, whatever happens, they kind of lead by example on the pitch as such. But other than that, like, they wouldn't have that much to do with it. You know, they give a few talks to the team, but still, if the dad's behind the team, they'll be doing all the groundwork.
Cyril, you throw a bob or two occasionally on the horses. If you were putting a tenner on this match, where would it be?
Well, like, it's going to be, there are two even money shots on, you know, but I suppose, like, Limerick have home venue, and if things might just be happening for them this year. Like against Clare the last day, very few people with a few minutes to go would give them a chance unless they got a goal. Now they didn't get a goal and they actually got 4 points from play, which up to that they weren't able to get at all. So you just have to say maybe it could be their year.
Well, we're going to find out over the next 70 minutes or so. Let's go over then to the Ennis grounds in Limerick and join Ger Canning.
Yes, you're very welcome back here. The breeze has just whipped up a little bit in the last few minutes and blowing quite strongly down the field in towards the city end. We're going to take a check on the two teams, starting with Limerick. They recall Damien Quigley to top of the left following his recovery from a thumb fracture sustained against Cork. As the forwards are rejigged, TJ Ryan is at left wing forward in place of Mike Galligan. Shane O'Neill retains his right wing berth in spite of the impressive claims of Barry Foley from Patrick Swell. His clubmate Ciaran Carey was the hero, of course, against Limerick, or Ciara against Clare, I should say. He captains the side from centre half back in the company of Dave Clarke and Mark Foley. An impressive line indeed. And this, the full list of subs, and my goodness, there is a lot of talent there for Tom Ryan to call upon if he so wishes. It really is a wonderful, wonderful, colourful scene here.
Echo coming back.
You saw a little lad there meeting the two captains a little while ago. That was Patrick Cunningham from Tullamore in County Offaly. He's 8 years of age. He's here as part of the Share a Dream Foundation, accompanied there by Shay Kinsella. He met the two captains, had a little chat with them, and he was here, of course, also when Limerick played their last match. So a check on the tip team. Without Nicky English, he limped off against Kerry. Declan Ryan now leads the attack for a side with a new midfield pairing. Conal Bonnar is assigned the role of literally driving the team alongside Brian O'Mara out of midfield. Remi Ryan, who missed the semi-final win over Kerry with a shoulder injury, returns to wing-back. Tip's midfield duo against Kerry, Michael Cleary and Liam McGrath, are now assigned half-forward positions, while the impressive Liam Cahill is at top of the right. And the Tipperary substitutes there, including Aidan Ryan, Nicky English, of course, as well, and Pat Fox, number 22. So it's the 107th Munster Hurling final. Limerick's 4th in 5 years, Tip's 6th in 9. Joe O'Leary from Cork is the match referee this afternoon. And you'll have noted from the earlier pictures that Limerick won the toss and they opt to play against the wind in the first half, so they're playing from right to left. Every possible space has been taken up, it seems. An attendance of 40,000 expected here. The referee just going in there to have a word with his umpires. His linesmen this afternoon are Ger Harrington and Michael Wadding from Waterford. George Friend then ready to get going. The umpires, for the record, are Tony O'Riordan, Ciaran Houlihan, Liam Moynihan and Jim McAvoy. They have a big responsibility as well. John Leahy then. Who will be picking up John Leahy? And will he play most of the match as a wing forward? Could he move back into midfield, where of course at one stage at under 21 level he had a partnership with Conal Bonnar? As they start, it is John Leahy who's about to be marked by Dave Clarke. Damien Quigley, good to see him back. The score of 2-3 in the 1994 All-Ireland final, but as we know, it wasn't enough that day.
In the 1920s and the 1930s. He was probably one of the last surviving members of that era. Solace na Paudge, Owen and Leahy.
We begin with a minute's silence here.